Hi guys, it's April and we're gonna be doing something a little bit differently today. But before I get started, I am going to go and tweet all of this out as per usual, and then I will kind of explain what is sort of kind of going on. Let's see. I have so many things on my desk right now. It's a little bit ridiculous. I don't know how I'm going to have room to do all that I want to do. I am going to start a new series. Hi, Robin. I'm going to start a new series during my live streams that aren't necessarily coloring books, but it is more of book defacings. So I want to go through, at least for the first 4 months, each month I'm going to do one of the Lunar Chronicles books. So here I've got Cinder. So I want to do Cinder today. And then next month I will hit the rest of the Lunar Chronicle series. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the inside cover of these, this beautiful black thing. I'm going to mark all over it. And I gave my challenge of using chalk pastels. I have no idea how this is going to go. I have already gone through and I've painted the pages this really pretty gray color. And I did the whole series, if I can. So I did all 4 of the books. But today we are going to just do the cover of Cinder. And that was me dropping all of the books. That's pretty much me as well. I haven't used chalk pastels since my art studio days in college. And I wanted to do some kind of artsy kind of thing to book covers because I've been seeing everybody doing all these really amazing illustrations and designs and everything on their books. I thought that would be cool to start incorporating into my live streams. I'm still going to be doing my coloring book pages, but just one stream a month, I'm going to do a book defacing. I also didn't want to necessarily go out and buy a whole bunch of art supplies for this, so I was challenging myself to use supplies that I have on hand that I haven't used for a while. So I've got my chalk pastels. I also have, I know this is cheating a little bit, but I have a few charcoal pencils that I'm probably going to lay out the design with. And I also have a lot of these Chalkola chalk pens that I might do some detailed works with as well. The real question is, can I, after I painted all of this, can I get the pages open? Because they're kind of stuck together and I want to look at that. Oh, I want to lay it flat a little bit. See if I can do this without tearing the pages, which I think I might be doing. Because I want it to lay flat, which it's not doing right now. Because I want to do a spread all the way across. So, good grief. So this is not a reading copy of this book. This is actually a used book that I found on discount. It used to be an old library book, which is why I'm okay if this doesn't go quite the way I expect it to. Oh, okay. Okay, so there's not going to necessarily be a way for me to lay it flat, which I suppose makes sense because it's a book. So I'm wondering if how do I want to do this? You guys are watching me learn on the fly here. Okay, I think I want to do it kind of this way. Maybe I can sort of make this work. So the idea I have right now, what I'm thinking about trying to do on this cover is I want a cog over here, and then I want some city silhouette, and then I want the moon over here with some additional city silhouettes. But throughout this whole part right here, I want to do some kind of almost like galaxy kind of thing. So we're going to try this. I have some circles that I'm going to use to trace. And I think that's probably about the size I want the moon. And I'm going to just put these roughs in here real quick before I start anything too ridiculously crazy. So that's kind of going to be the moon. And then I want the cog to be a little bigger. Okay, so we're probably mostly going to have the cityscape on this side and a little right here. So I'm going to use the black. So you might not see this. Well, you can kind of see it. Okay, so that's that one, and then I'm going to do that real quick. Whoopsie, sliding. Don't want it to slide. There we go, that's a little better. And then I'm going to use this one for the inside. That was not symmetrical. There we go. Okay. So right here is where the main part of the cog is going to be, and then I want to do those little teeth. And I'm going to do this very scientifically. Please note the sarcasm that I use. It's almost a little bit like creating mandala. That makes sense. And I don't think so. Gonna kind of and this is going to be more of a artist rendition of this, because I know I am not doing this justice whatsoever. So what's going to happen is this part is not going to exist. It's not going to exist. It looks really funny right now. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. By the way, hi, welcome. And then this is going to be kind of solid throughout here. Okay, and I think, how do I want to do this next part? How do I want to make it? That's a good question. I think I'm gonna probably these lines right here so I don't get confused. Oh, did I do the wrong? I did. So this is supposed to be here, not right there. And then it's supposed to be this one that's supposed to be gone. There we go. Got concerned there for a second. Okay. And so I'm going to use this kind of as the center well. Do I just want to... I think I want to bring that down a little bit. Probably be more like this, given how I didn't center things the way I wanted to. And I'm thinking, hi Stephanie, hi Dee Dee. I'm trying to decide what kind of cog. I'm thinking maybe more of like, maybe keeping this kind of spoken it out. And then I'll do this one as well. And then it would be this one right here. And maybe, quite possibly, we might be able to do the like cityscape poking through a little bit. And I do want to do this cog in a metallic, and I've got some metallic chalks. So if that's going freehand now, and that might just be the hole in the center. Okay. I have no idea if you guys can even see any of that. It's probably really, really light. But that will give me some kind of idea where all that will sit. Now for the really fun part, trying to do a cityscape. I have to admit, cityscapes are not my forte. Sorry, I'm just giving that line a little bit. There you go. It looks a mess right now, I promise. I promise it'll look really cute at some point in this whole process. Okay. question is, so this book takes place, and I think, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've read this series, but I believe it's New Beijing. So part of me is like, well, should I try and sort of do a little bit of a Beijing-esque skyline? Or should I do kind of a generic cityscape skyline? Part of me wants to do a little bit of the Beijing skyline because I think it'll pull it all together a little bit. So, and I think the biggest part of Beijing is you've got that spire. And then it's got that little observatory thing on top. And this is going to be by no means perfect. But other than that, we probably have some, well, I don't know if I want that there. Probably have some squat little buildings. And then we can have some taller buildings. And I do have a Pinterest board that I put together to help me decide kind of the look and feel of how I wanted to do everything. So after I am somewhat done with this project, I will make that board public so you guys can kind of see this building kind of like a Christmas tree. At least that's what it kind of reminds me of. So you can go back and you can see the references and see how I got here. Maybe another tall building. The problem is I'm starting to get into the creases in parts of this. Kind of. So hold on, I'm gonna do this real quick and it'll be easier. Do I wanna add a little building next to it? And probably just kind of leave it like that. But I want to give it multiple tiers. And since I kind of want to light things up, I'm going to do the second layer in a white. And it'll make sense later. Not necessarily right now. It's going to feel a little weird. And I'm not going to be as fancy with the ones back here. And then maybe another tall one. Okay, I kind of like that. Now the question is, can we do a mini version right here to kind of pull it all through? Like I said, I'm still kind of thinking maybe we want to pull some through here. It might be kind of cool. I know. Thank you, Steph. And I promise I won't tell Chris. But I love how you're collecting cats. I do know that in Beijing there's also a giant Ferris wheel, kind of like in London, that I might do a little silhouette of right here. That might be cute. I mean, that's going to be a little harder because it is something that's so spindly and see-through. But part of me kind of wants to try. So I'm not really good at circles, so maybe this is a horrible, horrible idea. And I might have to make it a little blockier than it is in real life. And I didn't draw that far enough over, and so now we're... What is that, April? What is that? I don't even know. It's okay. We're gonna run with it. Maybe things are not as symmetrical in the future. We don't know. It's possible. I don't even know what that is, guys. Well, it's a type of Ferris wheel. It kind of sort of got there. Oh. All I can do is laugh at myself, to be honest. Am I off screen? I'm sorry. Oh, goodness. Just having a good laugh at myself. Dun, 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 dun. And see, and this is where things start to go into the cog a little bit. I could probably do a building right there. And then maybe, what kind of building do we want to put right here? Maybe something a little squatter. Hold on. Kind of. Something kind of like that. Okay, it's kind of there. Okay, so the question is, I think I want to have buildings at least all the way up here so that we can fully cover that Ferris wheel and it won't get lost when I'm doing some of the night sky. Okay. Do something kind of stair-steppy like. And then angled. And then we kind of run into the cog there. I think from back here. Maybe something kind of like that. Okay. Those are the roughs, which means we get to start having a little bit of fun with how I want to do this night sky. So I'm going to use, at least my plan is to use, I want to use some reds. Probably a little purple, but not a lot. I'm going to go with some blues. Actually, I'm going to use, probably get these things are so busted. I'm going to try and use the smaller pieces first. And there's a dark blue. And then I do have a black that'll probably blend everything out. I've got a gray. And then I got this little tiny baby white that'll blend everything together. Okay. I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. I have this picture in my brain. We'll see if I can bring it to life. So originally, when I thought maybe I could lay this book flat, I'm like, maybe I could start the galaxy in the center of the book and do it diagonally, well, that's a word, diagonally across the page and have this like streak of reddish purple galaxy type thing. I might still be able to do that. So the idea is we'd have this lightish area running kind of through here. And then we'd have a lot of red. Kind of just flows through. And purple, just kind of add those in places. And now this is something that's probably going to have to really be built up. Probably add some blue in here. Some darker. And then I'll add the black in last to kind of fade things. So here, don't want to muddy everything up too much. I'm just wiping my finger off every once in a while on a tissue. Because like I said, I don't want to muddy the colors up. Still want those really vibrant colors. Especially those whites. Do want to get in those creases. And when I'm done, I am planning on spraying this with a fixative. So that it'll keep for a while. Okay, so we're gonna go back with some of that white. Get back into some of those places. Maybe bring that up there. Oops, getting violent. I'm gonna have chalk pastel everywhere by the time this is done. I think I want to actually add in more of that purple. So it's kind of a nice transition between that blue and the red. Trying to make sure I can get into those creases. Excuse me. Okay. The thing is, maybe I won't have to use the black to blend things out. Granted, right now, everything is looking very one-directional. Might go through and add some. That crease is really hard to deal with. Some swirls. Actually doesn't look that bad. Do I wanna? I hit some of these. Here he is, just really quickly. Kind of adds a weird depth that I don't necessarily like. Okay, so black was a interesting idea. Whoopsie, picked up the purple. I don't think I want to do that. So I think I might come back at it. Maybe add some red down here. We can, no, this we can add some purple. And then go into the light blue and the dark blue. Do want to bring some more of that red down there. Okay. Kind of got an interesting effect. Okay. Might build that up a little more, but I'm kind of content with where that's at right now. But we also have this moon right here that we kind of need to start building out. So I'm thinking, once we get the moon done, maybe I'll give it a kind of a glow, which will then interact with what we're doing on the sky. So for the most part, moon is going to be very hard white. And I think I'm going to use a tissue. Kind of don't want to mess up the sky too much. But I do want to get to that edge. I guess if it's not perfect, that's okay. The one thing fun about the fact that I'm doing this on a book page is it's already got that texture that these chalk pastels really like. And so it's just a matter of, I'm getting the dust everywhere. Oopsie. There we go. I have some makeup applicators that I might use to blend this out. I might have a little bit more control. Okay, so I'm really losing a lot of that bright white, which I don't necessarily want. I do want it to be pretty shiny. Okay. Weird. Okay, I'm like, where did I put the white? Okay. So, since I want that to kind of still live in that realm, kind of want this right here, and then I'm gonna have, oh well, that's convenient. The gray is kind of already the color I've blended everything out to. The issue is going to be trying to find a way that I can keep that white it might be a matter of just building and building and building over and over again. Seems when I use my finger, it doesn't knock nearly as much of it off. And sorry about that. That was Amazon. Dogs got really excited. I'm kind of liking where that's starting to sit. Whew. Now the question is, Don't mind my head just getting into frame. Can I do what I want to do with this cityscape and this cog? I think I might want to do the cog next. I've got some of these metallics that I really want to use with that, because I think it'll make it stand out. And hopefully these aren't there. Nope. Perfect. So I'll just really quickly rough all of these in. So that we can start to see what I was thinking for this cog. Like I said, it's more of like an artistic styling. Geometrically, this thing does not make any sense. It was a package. I finally broke down and I ordered all of the Girl from the Other Side manga, because I'm like, I'm gonna buy these eventually, so why not? I was having one of those days where I'm like, I just need it. Just need it. Hey, Shay. And thank you. So like I said, I had this vision in my head, and I was very much hoping I could translate it onto this book. And I'm going to attempt to do the same kind of style on the rest of the series. At least that's kind of what I'm thinking. So kind of always having the moon present somewhere. See if I can do this without showing any of my lines. And then taking elements from the book and then just kind of keep morphing the book covers. So, I mean, at least it has similar elements. Like, maybe I'll always have the galaxy side. Well, it's because I believe the next one comes out next month. So I'm like, oh, I should just pre-order this. But does it make sense to pre-order the one if I don't have any of the other ones? So that's kind of why I'm like, well, I'm not supposed to be really buying anything. But guess what? I'm buying this right now. Dang it. Am I on screen? Dang it. Sorry, guys. There you go. Thank you guys for keeping me accountable. So I sort of have an idea that I saw done on how to quickly do stars. Instead of trying to individually place each and every one of them. got so much stuff on my desk right now. It's getting hard to get to what I need to get at. Trying not to leave streaks, but can only do so much. Right. Might have to. Yeah, this might be a chalk marker, but it is definitely drying extremely fast. So it's not necessarily something can blend out right away, but might be able to do multiple layers. Thicken up some of those areas so you don't get that streaking. I also want to add a little bit of bronze to it so it looks like it's got a little bit of rust on it. Trying to kind of keep to simple shapes. I haven't been reading as much as I would have liked. Life got a little bit busy, so I've only read 5 volumes so far. So I read, of course, Love and Focus and really enjoyed that, and I've read about 2 volumes of Vampire Knight. And as I was reading it, I'm like, this feels really familiar. And then I realized that ages and ages and ages ago, I watched the anime. So the storyline is already kind of sort of in my head. Okay. I guess this is probably more of a gold rather than a bronze. But let's see what we can. Can we? No, I don't think this is gonna bleed out quite the way I want to. So, first of all, we're going to get rid of that. And maybe we can just use... But I am liking Vampire Knight. Sorry, I didn't finish that thought. I'm getting distracted very easily. Maybe we can use some of the chalk pastel and then kind of just rust it out a little bit. But maybe we can also use the chalk pastel to give it a little bit of depth. Hold on, let me get a little blendery stick. No, that is not gonna darken that very much. Okay. I didn't necessarily want to go to black, but let's see what happens when we add a little bit of black. Experimenting. I don't think that did much of anything. You guys probably don't see much of anything either. Well, I'm like, I kind of... Because I like the fact that it's metallic, but we also want to dirty it up a little bit. So we got a little bit. Maybe I just have to be a little bolder about it, a little bit more aggressive. Please don't make me regret this. I have to like stop thinking about it as if it's markers that I can easily blend, because it's very much not. Kind of giving it a little bit of depth. Okay, rust. Rust will be kind of on the edges. Necessarily any rhyme or reason. Let me use the same one. Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit to build some of that up. Uh-oh, didn't mean to get it on the sky. I have to keep it in. I might have to go through and sharpen those edges. Getting there. I'm wondering if, especially along the top, if we add some of the colors that are happening in the galaxy. Kind of like it's reflecting a little bit. Might make it feel like it's a little bit more part of the piece. Because of the way this ends up blending, it's very, very subtle. Oh, Shay, you're sweet. Like I said, I'm kind of making this up as I go along. For sure. I mean, I did watch a few YouTube videos, and like I said, I've got a Pinterest board that I'm using as inspiration that I will definitely share after I am done. Oh, if you guys could see my desk right now, there are tissues and pastels absolutely everywhere. Okay, I have, okay, maybe I want to do the dark gray part first. Okay, so you remember how I mentioned how this part was in white? Well, that's because I want to do this first layer in a light. Okay, how can I do this without accidentally gray? Because the other layer I want to do in a deep, rich black, which is kind of the opposite of what you would think, but in my brain, I'm kind of like, well, maybe all the lights are on in the back, but not up front. That's kind of where I'm going with this. I think it's okay that you got a little bit of that crisp edge of the charcoal line. I'm actually kind of enjoying that. Put some purple there. Biggest thing will be trying to figure out how to do that Ferris wheel. And I might have to do something to kind of create a degree of separation between the silhouettes and that cog, because they're bleeding together. Sorry guys, my reference things are taking up most of my screen, so the viewport of what's actually being recorded right now is really, really tiny. And plus I get a little wrapped up in trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing that I forgot to check. Okay, this might be something that I'm going to build up a little bit, but like I said, I don't want it to be as bright as, say, the cog or the moon. I just wanted to have some kind of distinction between layers of the city. Okay, and it's okay that it's a little fuzzy. It's really this front part that I want to be nice and crisp. So I have my black chalk that I'm hoping I can get some relatively decently sharp, crisp lines, but I might come back with that chalk. Oh, I think this is dead. Come on. Okay, that's not working the way I want it to. So maybe we're just going to use the charcoal pencil and do some sharpening of all of those. And maybe I want to outline those in the white charcoal, so they kind of like glow, maybe. And of course, the hardest thing about working with any of these mediums is making sure you don't smudge everything. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't see that question. So I'm gonna use a spray fixative. It's just a Mod Podge fixative. This is what I've always done when I've done charcoal or pastels. So after I'm done, and this is in a state that I'm okay with, I'll probably lightly go over all of that. This might be something that I have to layer so I can get that true rich black. Like I said, maybe I want to give it a slight glow. So we already talked about maybe giving a little bit of a glow to the moon. Maybe we do the same thing to the city. So like I said, since I don't necessarily have pastel pencils, okay, that line is gonna drive me nuts. See if I can get rid of it a little bit and then come back. Wish I did have some pastels, because I'd probably get some sharper lines. But I also suppose that city isn't necessarily the focal point of this whole thing. Maybe I should have done the Ferris wheel in the white. Really would have stood out a little bit more. Could possibly. Okay. We're gonna add a little bit. So that we can see some of these. It's gonna get a little artistic, which is fine. Oops, don't necessarily want it. I'll come back with the black and maybe blend that out. We kind of give it a little bit of outline so you can see those bits and pieces. It's gonna be a little sketchy, but I think that gives it a very dynamic feel. Don't quite know how I want to handle the Ferris wheel. Kind of gives it a little bit more life. Kind of like that. Sometimes you just kind of gotta adapt. some of the smudges. Keep a little bit of separation. Okay, I'm gonna go. Oh, thank you. You guys are sweet. Like I said, I've been working myself up to doing this all week because I'm very much comfortable coloring things, but freehanding things out always makes me extremely nervous. And so the fact that this is actually turning out somewhat like it is in my brain, I'm excited about. Okay, let me rearrange some stuff so I can actually see what's going on. Get too many windows open up on my screen. Okay, so I do like how bright the cog and the moon are. I will say that. That's probably my favorite part of it. I do feel like I need to make that cog a little bit more industrial looking. And less like it just came off of the factory floor. I'm wondering, since we are talking about Cinder, if red would be the main way to go, with kind of giving it a little bit of character. I don't necessarily use that brownish color anywhere else. Mix in a little bit of the blue. mean to be that aggressive about turning my chair. Okay, I am going to go and grab a Ziploc bag real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Ziploc bag, except for I want to kind of go around the moon real quick. Okay. Whoop. Maybe now that I've got things in place, I can build some of this up just a touch more. Be careful where I touch things now. Okay. So. It down. Ah. Just trying to make sure those little flicks of pastel that I used actually stay. So if you need a little cheat on how to do stars, see if I can kind of flick it. I'm using my nail to get some of the white pastel, and then see if I can do this one-handed. Pressing it in with the Ziploc bag. That's kind of my hope, is to do a stuff a little closer to the city, to do a sped up version for those who like to see the quick product, don't necessarily want to sit there and listen to me talk and yammer. should for sure probably do some bigger stars, but this is just a quick, easy way to add a whole bunch of them. But now I'm going to see if I can get, I might cheat and grab a white Posca. And then make some working pretty well. Maybe I won't. Oops. I don't know if I want to add too much. Oops. Huh? I'm kind of liking the way that turned out. Maybe. I don't think you guys need to see my tissues anymore. For the most part, I really like how it turned out. I don't know if I'm 100% happy with that cog. The perspective is a little wonky. You can definitely tell I am not an engineer. But I suppose at this point there is not a whole lot that I can do about it. So that is my first live stream book defacing. Thought about doing more with the pages, but I don't know if I can hold this without smearing it right now. But yeah, you got the one side. Then you got the other side. Huh? Yep. And like I said, I got the industrial gray pages. So yeah, I am going to go and spray it with fixative so that I'm not so paranoid about smudging it. Screwing it up a little bit. Sorry, that line was driving me nuts. And then, of course, I will take pictures and put it up on the internet because that's what I do. But I think this is out of place as I continue, like, doing things on it. But I think this is out of place that I am very much content with. I'm sure there'll be something later that I'm like, oh, I should have done that. But for my first run at trying to be artistic as I booked a face, I think it turned out pretty well. So let's see if we can get it in frame with some of our chalk pastels so that we can get that really pretty, that way. There we go. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. I want to thank you guys all for coming and joining me with this fairly interesting experiment. It was fun. Like I said, I want to do this at least once a month, but all my other live streams will probably just be my normal coloring. Just wanted to try something a little bit new. But thank you for hanging out with me. I hope to see you guys all next week. You guys are all amazing, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.